as I am trapped inside today, which I'm very excited about. No work, no responsibilities outside. I get to work on, this is going to be this, though I think I'm gonna reduce that and make those borders, but the theme is, well, March is coming, so we're gonna do something Celtic-y. And the 3 colors, they're all green, but this is to help me make sure there's overlapping. Saw this online, it made complete sense. These are all 2.5 inch squares. With all of my blocks from here to there, the white is 109, but I'm going to reduce it by a whole margin there. So it's going to be a lot less. 20 of each color, 3 colors. I think I did it out of 2 2-inch strips. So you can do this with a jelly roll, just 2 of each color, or you can buy, what? Jelly roll is 2.5, 2.5, 6 inches of each of these fabrics.
I say 6 inches because you need to straighten out whatever you
jelly
get.
rolls are width of the fabric.
And we all know this.
And then for the white, I got a hold of, I think it was, 5/8. But with this new way, I think 5/8 will still work. And these are just borders. Now, this guy's only going to be about 24 by 24 inches, about, maybe a little more than that. And it's meant to hang on the door as if you're hanging a wreath, which will be nice because it's a different kind of wreath. Seasonal because it's for St. Patrick's Day, because I have, here's my white. It's an off-white. It's actually, I think it's Moda Solid Confetti. So it might be not Moda, but it's a solid, and the color is called La Creme, so it's off-white. I've already cut out some of my blocks, so I need to cut out some more. So here's green, which looks awesome against the cream. Another strip of that. And this is not batik, but it looks like batik, which is cool. This one, let me see. Did I write it down? No, but all of these are available at All About Quilts. So
as of this video being posted March
cream color,
2nd,
and you don't have to get the La Creme color. You can get any kind of off-white, as long as it doesn't have the, well, you can even get the ones that look natural with the little specks in it, and that's fine too. So this is just a 2.5 inch strip I cut, and I just have to cut the rest of them. I got 17 blocks out of 1 strip with the fabric. So I think for the what's left, I'm going to use as my binding. So yeah, you get 17 out of this. So I need 3 more. I'm going to cut the rest of these. And then I'm going to figure out my new number for the whites that are inside and cut those out. So it's 55 white.
I can't even count simple blocks. It's actually 60 white.
So I'm thinking start at the top and work my way work my way. So it's like 4, 3, 4. I think that's the plow outside. Isn't that wonderful? Stitches are uniform enough. Honestly, this should come together pretty easily. You can tell I'm gonna have problems with that. One always feeds a little faster than the other, but I think I've noticed other people have the same problem. So I press them all into the same direction, and I'm going to do that to the other strips, but in the opposite direction, so that hopefully they line up better. Though I've heard it's if you have those double needles, well, the not needles, straight pins, it's a way to control. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. What it does. Okay, me not paying attention, I gotta take that out anyways, because he needs to be the green needs to be attached to the greens, and this one needs to be attached to those other two whites. Oy vey. Okay, we have that. So I need to sew this onto that green. And I just lost my scissors. Okay, and I got green and then whites. And then whites onto whites. I'm sort of pushing it, but I should be okay. Just want to line everything up and I don't get a foot cramp, because my foot is up and not down. I really need to make a new starter. It could be the menace. Okay, now we're in the middle of the room, and it is a little wonky. It's gonna move a little, because really I should just do in blocks, and then, I don't know, work into larger blocks. I don't know. But what you're supposed to do is trim it straight, but I think I'll just make it worse, but I will try to trim it straight. But I know this is just going to get confusing and more confusing as I go. I'm hopeless at this. Okay, so I haven't trimmed this yet, so I'm going to trim them all once I've sewn them together. I think that's the best way. So the next row is that row, and it goes da bum 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 4 4 3. Okay, I find it helpful if I lay them out and then match them up. I won't mess them up this time. There we go. And I think I can line them up here without having to walk away. 1, 2, 3. Oops. 1, 2, 3 goes with 4 and 3. And then this one goes at the end of this. I don't know if I can do it without. I think I can. I can do it. No one will be able to see anything, but there we are. Where's my little thingy? There's our next one. And there's the second row. And they go that way and then they go that way. The seam pressings. And at least they're the same. At least they're the same length. Are they straight? I don't know. This one's straighter than this one, I think. Depends. On to the next row. Okay, in the next row. So super dark is that square. Well, dark in my head. Square, and that the top part overlaps a little bit. Ends up pretty serious. And we're getting there. Okay, where there's a light and a dark, I press the seams out. And they're relatively the same size. And as you can tell, it's going to keep getting wonky. Let's see, what's my next row? And 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 gets a little simpler. There's the 4th row. And it is 11 by 11. So I'm making some progress. We're getting there. We're getting there. Always keep checking. Always keep checking. I'm happy that it's not super wonky. Now we're gonna do a couple more rows, pretty much repeating what's here. we'll see how it works. And it is expanding. And they're all colors and all confusing colors. There we go. I think this is the middle row. And then it's the rest going in the other direction. But it's essentially those flip. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, it's way bigger than I thought it would be. But yeah, we will endure. At least on the camera, you can see the difference. But with the naked eye, these two greens are really close. But if I ever did this again, I'd do 1.5 inch squares. Make it teeny weeny. And there it is, all my strips. Now I have to iron them and then square them. So the issue I have is that is the longest ruler I have. But I can pile rulers on rulers. So I'll probably do that. But and I won't know if they're reasonably straight till after I iron them. And there we go. I think 13 strips or 11. Don't remember what, but all ironed. Now I'm gonna straighten them up. Okay, I will say I'm being very gentle with how I'm trimming. Just very little pieces here and there. I'm not being extreme with the straightness. Because I don't want to trim that hard. Now I'm thinking I should pin it, and really I should, but we're going to try the first strip where I'm just going to hold it real tight, use a guide so that when these slip in, they slip in at the same time. We'll see what happens. Okay, I like how it did kind of line up, but I think I'm going to do pins for everything else. I'll have to say, I think the ones with pins are less painful, and they don't, you know, you can kind of see there's a little bit of a bow in there, and when you open it up, it's a little more. Whereas the ones with pins, and maybe that's just me, maybe I'm seeing it and it's not really there, but it just seems to want to lie down. Just a little bit easier. So I'm going to sew the other ones and then iron them out. And I won't bore you with too many details. Okay, after a few hiccups, I did have to take apart the whole middle again. And it looks better on camera than it does in person. These are very close. But I think. Now all I have to do is the 2.5 inch border, though it's huge. So maybe I might not. I don't know. I'll have to see how big it is against the door. I might, but it hasn't been ironed either, so it's gonna even get bigger. Nicey nice. Look at that. That's pretty impressive. I'm really happy with it. And that's ironed out. It's I can see little wobbles, but that's pretty good. I did pretty good. Hoo-hoo. I don't know quite how I'm going to do the edge. Maybe something little, because I need some sort of break between the binding, and it can't be too much bigger than a normal door, so it's going to hang in the door. Gotta think about that. So I've measured this a couple times. This comes out to, I think, 22.5. And these two sides, it's supposed to be a square, but those match. So I cut out 2 strips, 23 inches long and 1.5 inches wide. And then I cut 2 strips that are with a fabric 1.5 inches wide. And now I'm going to sew at least one side, the other side, and here's what it looks like with the first. And I trimmed that, and that looks reasonably straight, so I'm not going to mess around with that edge. I did straighten one of the edges, and that one looks reasonably straight, so I'm not going to trim that either. It's coming together, and it definitely needed that break. And I'm going to use a green for the binding. Okay, I'm going to pin, sew, and press again. Okay, I'll have to say it's pretty cool. That's what I cut off. And they're the same size, even, and I cut the selvages off at the same time. My goal was 1/2 inch, and it's 24.5 inches. Is it a perfect square? Let's find out. So I folded it up like a triangle, and those match, but those do not. And that's how you tell, because you measure it this way and measure it that way, and they should be the same exact measurement. That would tell you it's square, but it's not. But I knew that too, because I seem to have cut the batiks out a little funny. And they also have a life of their own. Cotton behaved. Batiks have their own idea of what's going on. So the next step is the quilting part. And since this is meant for the store, it's going to get quilted on the long arm. There it is in all its glory. Now I'm going to pick it back. I picked a green that we have a lot of, but it also isn't hideous and doesn't really clash with this, since my binding is just going to be these colors that I already have. And then my stuffing is the green stuffing that I'll post right there as to what it is.
We're done over there, and then I'll be done over here for a while. I'm assuming Ann's not going to come in this weekend. We're going to have his strip. Oh, it's yours. Isn't it?
It's all lined up.
Ready to go. Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah. Almost done.
Very exciting.
It really is. I love seeing the backside of one.
I hope there are enough. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know how many students there are.
So this is the hardest part for me, joining my binding after I've sewn it onto the quilt. This time I was like, you know what? I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to do it, because when I think about it, I end up redoing it at least 3 times. I end up pulling out a ruler. I'm just trying to be really quick about it. Like, match the ends so I know where they'll eventually meet in the middle. It's awful. I mean, this is just a struggle. We tried. I think it's just practice is how you defeat this problem, but I do get it in the end. Second try. Let's see if it's wonky.
I think that'll look nice on the back. That would look nice on the back of mine with the purple and green.
This is the fastest I've ever put it together.
And it's wide.
Just running out of time. There's the outside. Just have to sew that down. I'm gonna turn them. Change my thread so it's whitish on this side, green on the other. I'm just sewing it down.
Thinking about it, yeah, and then all of a sudden, this time I was like, oh no.
Oh, I hope.
You can't tell when you're looking at both sides. They're not going to see it in the quilt. Yeah. Some of these you can kind of tell. It's just a little brighter. Cut one strip of dark fabric, slide in here. Yeah, a little brighter or a little sharper.
It's done! It looks pretty good. It's not terrible. And it fits perfect. Of course, you know, the little lines aren't great, but there it is. Voila. Thank you. Thank you for watching and bearing with me. See you next time. Bye.